You ever feel like your focus is just gone? Like you're in a world of endless notifications and infinite scrolling, and there's some kind of hidden process running in the background, just draining your mental battery. Well, it turns out ancient wisdom actually has a name for this, and a surprisingly modern diagnosis, and we're about to crack it wide open.
Okay, so let's think about it like this. What if your mind is a super high-performance computer? If that's the case, then what's the invisible malware that's secretly hijacking your processing power, slowing you down, and just stopping you from getting anything meaningful done? Well, that system bug actually has a name. It's called Kāmacchanda. In early Buddhist texts, this is pointed to as the #1 barrier to achieving that state of deep, unshakable concentration they call samadhi. You can basically think of it as the main system error we all need to debug if we want to upgrade our mental performance.
Now, to really get what this bug is, we've got to break the word down. The first part is kāma. This is pretty much all the sensory stuff out there trying to grab our attention. You know, the appealing sights, that catchy song, the thought of some delicious food. It's basically a constant stream of attractive data from the outside world trying to get into our system.
Then you've got the second part, chanda. And this is the really interesting bit. Chanda itself isn't good or bad. It's just raw, neutral energy. It's your core processing power. That fundamental drive or intention that lets you do anything, whether that's finishing a huge project or just mindlessly scrolling through your phone.
So you stick them together and what do you get? Kāmacchanda. This is the state where your core processing power, your chanda, is constantly leaking out towards all that distracting sensory stuff, the kāma. It's like your awareness is always accelerating outwards, trying to connect with things outside of you instead of focusing on what's right in front of you. It is, in short, a massive energy leak.
So, what does this system overload actually feel like in our day-to-day lives?
Well, the source material gives us 4 analogies that are so relatable they perfectly describe the symptoms of this mental malware.
First up, it's like trying to work while your screen is just flooded with pop-up ads. You're deep in the zone, focused on something important, and then bam, your brain serves you a little ad. Hey, remember that pizza you love? Or, I wonder what's happening on that video app. The ad itself might seem tempting, but the second it appears, your whole workflow is just shattered. That is Kāmacchanda in action.
The second symptom is a little sneakier. It's like having adware running secretly in the background, just eating up your computer's RAM. You might look calm and focused on the outside, but a part of your mind is constantly scanning for something pleasant, for some kind of little distraction. And that latent desire means your system can never really operate at 100%.
The third analogy, it's like having a big, greasy fingerprint on your camera lens. Yeah, you can still see the world, but everything is smudged, it's distorted. When our mind is filtered through Kāmacchanda, we start seeing everything as a potential tool for our own pleasure. It stops us from seeing things clearly, just as they are.
And finally, it can feel like a full-blown DDoS attack. You know, a distributed denial of service. Your mental server just gets totally overwhelmed by a flood of junk requests and meaningless sensory signals. This constant bombardment makes it impossible for your processor to do its real job, and it leads straight to mental paralysis and burnout.
Okay, so that's the problem, and yeah, it's a pretty serious system bug. But here's the good news. We can absolutely fix it. This isn't about morality. It's not about fighting some kind of inner demon. It's just a performance issue. So, how do we start reclaiming our mental bandwidth?
The very first step is to get rid of a huge misconception we all have. We tend to think that indulging in little sensory pleasures, like watching a quick video or grabbing a snack, is how we recharge our batteries. But from a system performance standpoint, it's the exact opposite. It is a severe energy drain. So what's the actual fix? It's a simple 3-step process. First, just recognize. See that desire for what it is. It's just low-quality system noise, not some urgent command you have to obey. Second, disengage. You don't have to fight it. Just close the pop-up in your mind, just like you would an ad. And third, reclaim. You consciously take that energy back and redirect it inward to the task you're trying to do. That is how you free up bandwidth for a much clearer, high-resolution perception.
And that leaves us with this really powerful reframe. That constant pull of distraction, that's not a moral failing. It's not some sin you need to beat yourself up over. It's just a bug in the system. And once you start seeing it as a bug, you can stop blaming yourself and you can start debugging. You can fix it, reclaim your focus, and start running your mind at its full, incredible potential.